What is good, YouTube? And as you guys can see, we have the 1-minute update summary for the upcoming patch featuring two new units. First, we have Harsetti, the new ML 5-star. She is the boss of the last, or I guess the latest episode that we have out. And we also have a new 5-star Earth Ranger here, and his name is going to be Fenris. Now, I actually wanted to make this video after the skill set for Harsetti got released, but I've waited like an hour now after Fenris has got released, and I'm too lazy. I'll just make it in a separate video for you guys. So we're going to talk about Fenris in this video, and then Harsetti in the coming video later. And so we actually have a new side story for Fenris, of course, because he's a new unit. So we always have a new side story with a new unit. And it's just probably going to be a normal side story. They don't really give too much details. We also have a new 3-star Thief. That is a dark unit. Most likely going to be for PvP because she's a dark unit, although I could be wrong. She could be used in the new Rift, which we'll see is actually going to maybe affect what can be used. Or I guess not Rift, but Hall of Trials. And of course, because we have Harsetti coming out, we have to end episode 5. So we have new chapters in 9 and 10. Also, we have the balance adjustments that we've talked about a couple times in previous videos if you guys want to check that out. Basically, Lionheart Sermia is getting buffed, Valencia is getting buffed, Abigail's getting buffed, and Judge Kisei and Shooting Star Arcades I don't really think matter too much with their buffs, but we'll see how it turns out. And of course, we have this free ring that we get for the Epic 7 World Championship. It is going to be attack percent main stat on speed set. You can see the subs are perfectly rolled, and this will end up being one of your best rings on your account for sure. So you definitely want to make sure you pick this up. All you guys have to do is go into the World Arena tab, actually enter World Arena. You don't have to play any games, just go to E7WC, I believe, and the ring should be there for your claiming. And because these two units are getting buffed, we have Abigail with her artifact and also Valencia with her artifact. And Abigail's artifact is super good, so you definitely want to consider maybe going for it. And we'll also have after that Fenris with his artifact, and then Yulha with her artifact running, with Harsetti and ML Leo, who's pretty terrible, running on the 26th. So as soon as her skill set comes out, I will be sure to actually share my thoughts on it, but yeah, I've been waiting and it's still not uploaded on their channel. So here we actually have Fenris's skill animations. Honestly, looking at his sprite and design, he literally looks like a 4-star hero. He just looks so similar to Silk, to be honest, like a male version of Silk, so it's pretty hard to actually see him as a 5-star character, but he is. You can see this is basically his lobby animation. It looks kind of cool, but honestly, it doesn't seem like anything amazing. I think they didn't really put too much effort into this design. The animation looks pretty cool though, but just the design itself just kind of looks basic. Now, of course, maybe that's just my personal opinion, but compared to some other designs out there, I think, you know, his was, you know, a little bit very similar to Silk here in terms of color and scheme. So basically, these are his stats here. You're going to notice he has super high attack, which you can see at the bottom here, increase further through imprint concentration, pretty high crit damage, and his speed is very low, so he's basically going to be a very hard-hitting damage dealer, which kind of makes me think he's going to be used for PvE, because usually rangers that are slow, because they're so squishy, they actually end up not being really used in PvP unless they're, yeah, because they're very slow, right? So because of that, you know, they're very squishy, they can abuse Guiding Light, so it's going to be hard to actually see him working too often in PvP, but maybe I'll be wrong. And first off, we have his skill 2, Unwavering Will. So you'll see that he uses Fighting Spirit, so you know, anything that cuts Fighting Spirit is very good against him. You're going to see that after an ally suffers an extra attack, counter attack, or dual attack, gain Fighting Spirit, similar to Lionheart Sermia, but this unit, Fenris, will use Soaring Arrow, and this can activate every 2 turns. Soaring Arrow is going to be an AoE attack that will dispel a debuff from all of your allies and increase CR by 30%. So this doesn't really make too much sense in PvP because, you know, you have a very squishy, slow ranger with this support for your team, and you're going to see that when they actually showcase it, he is going to be, and I believe it is the new Hall of Trials, right? So if we actually look here, this is the new Hall of Trials, you can see, and basically they're using it to actually counter Harsetti's. I believe she just counterattacks, right, a lot, or maybe extra attacks a lot, and you can cleanse your team of a debuff and then, you know, just do okay damage. Doesn't look that great. And then we have his S3. It'll give him greater attack buff. This will be very good because his attack skills, or his base attack, is super high, and then he'll do a single target attack. This will do more damage when the enemy's max health is greater, going up to 70%. We'll have the modifiers on that probably a little bit later when it gets data mined, but you're going to see that this is going to hit pretty hard. Now, this can be seen similar to something like a Hwayoung S3, but you can't use this at the start of battle. You actually need, if you look here, 75 fighting spirit, so you need to proc your S2. And you're gonna see that against a boss here, it's gonna do, I'm gonna assume pretty good damage, right? Because bosses have a lot of health. Yeah, so 63k, it's like okay. Honestly, I guess she's not defense broken, so it's probably pretty decent. When she gets that defense break, she'll probably take a ton of damage. But it's really hard to say how good this S3 will be until we see the modifiers, or until he comes out, because we actually want to see how much damage he can do in PvP against, like, you know, full health tanks, right? Maybe if it's like Hwayoung, he'll be super good because he can just hit hoops super hard. Oh, man, English is hard today. Hits super hard, and then even though he's slow, he can still technically use Guiding Light to actually stealth him, so he can actually make it to his turn, right? So maybe that'll be pretty good. But the animation on it, you know, if you look at it again, looks pretty cool, I'd say, but nothing like too amazing. It's just shooting an arrow. Yeah, nothing crazy, to be honest. Just looks kind of basic. And then we have his S1, single target attack, speed increase. When it's the caster's turn, you gain 25 fighting spirit. And you'll see that if you soul burn this does extra damage. So you start the battle with 50 fighting spirit. Your S3 will cost 75. So how to actually get enough fighting spirit, you need to actually use your S2 passive. You need an extra attack, counter attack, or dual attack to come in. Or you just literally S1 and you just do it the next turn. So you don't really need to rely on your S2 proccing as often as like Lionheart Sermia did before her buffs. You still need to take a turn before you can actually activate this. And this is going to be his S1. Was this soul burn? Let's actually see here. It looks like it was not soul burn. It hits pretty hard. Actually, that hits pretty hard. So maybe, you know, he can see some use in PvP just because he hits very hard, but kind of still doubt it, unless his S3 is like overtuned. Definitely looks more like a PvE unit for this Hall Trials. Probably will be insane in other areas of content like Ice Expedition, just anything that counterattacks, like Banshee as well will be very good, stuff like that. Next we have his artifact, Renewed Will. It's an AoE, not AoE, but team attack buff. Not attack buff, how do I say this? Increased attack, right? So it's like Warhorn and how it works, very, very nice. We definitely needed another alternative to Warhorn, and this is it. And it's going to be for rangers, of course. It's going to also have an effect where if you attack all enemies, you'll have a chance to increase everyone's CR on your team by 15%, and this can only activate once every 3 turns. You can only have this once per team, so you can't have like multiple rangers on this. So yeah, definitely looks good for PvE, your CR pushing. For PvP, this might actually end up being good on like rangers that actually have an AoE attack and are very fast. So one that comes to mind would be like Faithless Lytica, even though she really wants Guiding Light because her speed isn't as high as other contesters, and you can get sniped out by just anything that's faster than her pretty easily. If you do pick Faithless Lytica into a slower team, this artifact will be amazing because you have so much CR push for your team, right? Also, something like a Green Lyca could use this well, even though it might be a little bit awkward with her kit because she kind of wants to sleep and slow them, so getting CR pushed up might actually not be as good as just not getting that CR push up. But I'm sure there's a lot of other rangers out there that I'm forgetting about. Even something like a Landy, if you build her fast, can push your team up super quick. So I think this artifact will be extremely good for cleave players, of course, because of that CR push. But outside of that, you're most likely only gonna ever use this in PvE. So yeah, this is it for Fenris, guys, and the patch. As soon as the other ML5 star unit comes out, I'll be talking about her kit, but Fenris will be available on September 19th. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about this unit, if you think he'll be good or bad. I personally think he'll be mostly for PvE, but his artifact definitely seems good, and I will see you guys next video.